Hi, welcome to Our Family Vine. If you're new here, I'm Jenny. I'm married to Cesar, and we grew our family through adoption. Someone asked me a question that I wanted to address. They asked because two of our kids we adopted as infants, if infants also go through trauma. And the answer is yes. Even if you adopt a newborn or an infant, they do go through trauma because adoption is trauma. In the case of Kaia was 3 months old when she arrived. It's hard for me when I think back because she was a 3-month-old baby girl who didn't want to be held. And she was a baby girl that wanted her space. The only way she'd go to sleep is on her own, in her own crib, in her own space, alone with her blanket. That just speaks so much. It speaks volumes. For a 3-month-old baby, just a 3-month-old baby, imagine she's so used to already self-soothing, to the point where she doesn't even want to be held. Like, she doesn't want anybody around in order for her to go to sleep. She only wants herself and her blanket, and that's it. And that breaks my heart. That is traumatic. That is trauma. And that's 3 months old. We weren't her first placement. We're talking about a 3-month-old baby girl, and we were not her first home. I just can't imagine a baby not wanting to be held, not knowing what that felt like. Why would she rather be alone with her blanket to go to bed and not have anybody around? It breaks my heart even now, and just thinking about it. Then it made me so sad to see a baby not want to be held. You have to put yourself in her situation. She didn't have that attachment yet to anybody. She didn't trust where she was at. All she knew and all that she always knew is herself and this blanket. And that's what they said, like this, she's really attached to the blanket, and that's what helps her go to sleep. It took her months for us to finally get her to fall asleep in our arms. And the first one she did that was with Cesar. For her to finally fall asleep in the arms of Cesar was just, it was like she trusts us. That was her signal to us that she is starting to trust us. And it took months. And we're talking a baby who couldn't trust her own environment at the time, who couldn't trust any of us yet. And Cesar and I have been working with kids for years. Cesar has been working with kids for over 30 years, me over 20. And so we've worked with, so many different kids from all walks of life, and the most important thing for any kid is it's trust. Trust is so huge, and trust takes time. When you're opening your home and you're fostering, you have to understand that whether it's a baby, a toddler, a child, a teen, whatever, they have to trust you. They're not going to just walk into your house and trust you. And, for Kaia, she obviously couldn't trust us yet. I mean, even when we were out and about, she wouldn't fall asleep in our arms. When you go to a game or you're at a park or you're at someone's house, she would never fall asleep. And she would be super fussy, but didn't matter how tired she was, she wouldn't sleep. And I understand that. I mean, she didn't know where she was at. She didn't know who she was with. I mean, how can you just fall asleep? Like I said, it's trust. And in order for a child to build trust, the only way you can build trust with a child, with anybody, is love. Love, patience, understanding, and for her to know that this will be her constant, whether it was going to be temporary or it was going to be forever. We just had to keep showing up. Keep being there for her, keep showing her love. And she slowly started accepting us and trusting us and falling asleep in our arms. And I just remember her finally falling asleep in my arms, and it was the best feeling in the world for a baby to be like, I trust you, and you give her, you give the child the time to trust you. It's not going to be automatic, and it's not going to be immediate. It's in their own time. So yes, an infant can go through trauma. It's sad because for Kaia, she only trusted herself and her blanket, you know, and even though Coda is her biological sibling, I don't even really think they met. They might have met, but they were never placed together before our home, as far as I know. It's heartbreaking to see a baby so young be so independent already, so self-soothing. You had to ask yourself, like, why is she so independent at 3 months old already? And that makes you think, and it breaks my heart. And now, I mean, fast forward to today, you would never have known that she was like that, because she is the most affectionate little girl. Loves hugs. I can hug her, she hugs me back. Like, she loves hugs. And I love to just cuddle with her. And when she wakes up in the morning, I carry her out of bed, and like, I know she's probably almost as big as me, and you know, most people are like, oh, you know, she could walk on her own and stuff, but they don't understand her history. They don't understand what she went through. So I will keep carrying her. I carry her out of bed. I don't care how heavy she is, just to wrap my arms around her and her wrap her arms around me. It's the best. She trusts me. That's what it is. She trusts me. She loves me. And that's the most important thing. So yes, if you're looking into adoption, just because you're going to adopt a baby or even a newborn, there is trauma involved. Going into adoption, you just have to know that. You have to know, and you have to be patient, and you have to be just loving and just keep showing up. Like for Kaia, she had to know that we were always going to be there when we weren't going anywhere, and she couldn't trust that maybe she was going to get placed somewhere else. Until she started, and I'm talking months, guys, like a lot of time had to pass for her to finally understand that she is here, you know, and she started to trust that. But it did take time, and we're talking a baby, guys, a baby. For Kaia, her trust was herself and her blanket. Like, she trusted that blanket more than she trusted people, right? It was herself and her blanket for the first pretty much 3 months of her life. And so yes, going into that, you got to put yourself in their position. You got to put yourself in the baby's position. And yes, and you got to imagine, why would a baby be that way? So you just have to imagine that, and it breaks your heart, and you just imagine her alone, you know. And God, it's still hard, like, just to make your imagination wander, like, just to know that she was a baby, probably somewhere by herself, you know, not feeling maybe loved or not held enough. It's hard sometimes to imagine that, and imagine how she used to be. And I love her so much. Like, I cannot stop hugging her, smushing her face, just, you know, I can't. And for her, even, you know, if she feels like she is not in charge, and I'm not talking in a bossy way, if she just feels like she can't control where she's at, or feels out of sorts or out of place, like, it does affect her, like, she needs to feel like she's in control. And it's completely understandable, and I understand that, you know. So to answer that question, going back to that, yes, trauma is involved with infants. So, but it is so worth it. It's so worth it. I love her so much. So build that trust. Trust is the most important thing. And you'll know when they'll trust you. You'll know that feeling when they start to trust you. And it will be the best feeling in the whole world. This little child, this little baby is finally trusting you as their person. Oh. Thanks for watching.